Picture this. 90 minutes gone. Uruguay down 1-0. One goal from going home. Their whole World Cup, 2 years of preparation, a generation of talent, everything on the line. And then there's a moment inside the Spanish penalty area. A Spanish player and a Uruguayan attacker go for the same ball. There's contact. Uruguayan players spin around instantly, arms raised, screaming at the referee. The crowd in Guadalajara holds its breath. The referee waves it away. No penalty. And crucially, VAR stays silent. No review, no check, nothing. Seconds later, the final whistle blows. Uruguay are out of the 2026 World Cup. And right now, across South America and across the football internet, one question is burning louder than anything else. Was that contact a penalty? And if VAR exists to catch exactly these moments, why didn't it intervene when a two-time world champion's entire tournament was hanging in the balance? This is the story of Friday night in Guadalajara, a night that ended Uruguay's World Cup in chaos, controversy, and a cloud of questions that FIFA has not even begun to answer. If you're new to this channel, subscribe right now. We break down every major FIFA 2026 moment as it happens, and trust us, this one is going to be talked about for a very long time. Uruguay arrived at this game knowing exactly what they needed, a win. Nothing else would do. After drawing both their opening matches against Saudi Arabia and Cape Verde, Marcelo Bielsa's side needed 3 points against Spain to guarantee progression. The pressure was enormous. The opponent was the European champion on a 33-match unbeaten run, and from the very first whistle, Uruguay looked nervous, heavy, and disjointed in a way that suggested the weight of the situation had already got to them. Spain controlled the tempo. Pedri and Rodri moved the ball with that suffocating Spanish calm, pinning Uruguay deep and denying them rhythm. Uruguay's best moments came from set pieces. Ronald Araujo's free kick caused Unai Simón some uncertainty. Canobio had an effort blocked, but the match was drifting, and then came the moment that changed everything. 3 minutes before halftime, Marcos Llorente drove a low ball into the box. Alex Baena reacted quickest, turned sharply, and fired goalwards. It wasn't a screamer, it wasn't a thunderbolt, it was a shot that Fernando Muslera, a goalkeeper with over a decade of international experience, should have held. He didn't. The ball slipped through his hands and into the net. 1-0 Spain. And in that single moment, something inside Uruguay's campaign seemed to break.
Muslera's error was his third of the tournament, leading directly to a goal, making him the first goalkeeper since 1966 to commit 3 such errors in a single World Cup. The 40-year-old, brought out of retirement by Bielsa specifically for this tournament, had been a source of concern throughout, but nobody could have anticipated this scale of collapse. At halftime, Muslera was replaced by Sergio Rocher, the image of a World Cup goalkeeper being substituted at the break, with his team needing a comeback, told its own story. Bielsa later said he didn't make the decision, that Muslera himself asked to come off. Whether that's comforting or more troubling is a question Uruguayan football will wrestle with for some time. If you're watching this and you haven't subscribed yet, do it now. Hit that subscribe button. We're covering every storyline from this World Cup, all the way to the final, and you don't want to miss any of it. Uruguay pushed in the second half. Darwin Núñez battled, Brian Rodriguez brought energy off the bench, Nicolás de la Cruz tried to create, but Spain were organized and comfortable, and Unai Simón barely had a serious save to make all night. And then came the moment that has set the internet on fire. In the closing stages of the match, deep into the second half, with Uruguay desperately searching for a lifeline, there was contact inside the Spanish penalty area. A Uruguayan attacker went for the ball, and a Spanish defender challenged. Arms went up immediately across the Uruguayan bench and across the pitch. The players surrounded American referee Ismail El Fath, demanding the penalty spot. Agustín Canobio, in particular, was furious, getting in the referee's face and arguing aggressively about the decision. El Fath waved it away. No penalty. And then came the part that has really ignited the controversy. VAR at this World Cup is supposed to intervene when there is a clear and obvious error. The argument from Uruguayan supporters and from many neutral analysts watching the footage is that this contact looked like, at minimum, the kind of moment VAR should have at least examined. A potential penalty for the team that needed a goal to survive. A moment that could have changed the entire outcome. and it passed without a single replay check. Compare that to other decisions made at this tournament. Earlier in the group stage, England's Ezri Konsa challenged a Ghana attacker in the box in a way that one senior referee analyst described as a poor decision and a very fortunate non-call. In the Qatar versus Switzerland match, VAR awarded a penalty but couldn't even display the graphics to explain the decision because of a technical outage. And now, Uruguay exit the tournament with their players convinced they were denied a clear look at the spot.
That inconsistency is a problem, not just for Uruguay, for the credibility of the system itself. Subscribe to the channel if you're finding this breakdown useful. We're going to be following the VAR controversy right through the knockout rounds, and this is absolutely not the last time it becomes a talking point. The night ended in the ugliest way possible for Uruguay. Canobio, still boiling from the penalty denial, went in on Pau Cubarsí with a studs-up lunge in stoppage time that was dangerous and reckless, straight red card. He then reportedly made physical contact with referee El Fath, grabbing at his shirt as he was shown the card, adding a layer of disgrace to an already painful exit. Uruguay were losing the match, the argument, and now their discipline all at once. The final whistle came moments later. Uruguay out, their World Cup over with 2 points from 3 games without a single victory. And then there's the broader picture that emerged from Group H that nobody entirely predicted. Cape Verde, the Blue Sharks, one of the smallest nations ever to appear at a World Cup. They drew with Spain in the opening game and have now qualified for the round of 32 by the skin of their teeth. Their players gathered around a phone at the full-time whistle of their final group game to find out if Spain's result had been enough to send them through. When it was confirmed, the celebrations were extraordinary. They now face Argentina and Lionel Messi in the knockout rounds. That's some story. So what does all of this mean looking ahead? What's the bigger picture from the carnage of Friday night in Guadalajara? For Uruguay, the conversation will turn quickly to who replaces Bielsa and how the federation restructures. There's enormous talent in the squad: Darwin Núñez, Valverde, Ugarte if he recovers, Bentancur. These are genuine world-class players who deserve a project worthy of them. The question is whether Uruguay can build something coherent around that talent, rather than leaving it in the hands of a coach whose relationship with the group had clearly broken down before a ball was even kicked at this tournament. For FIFA, the VAR situation is an ongoing headache. The technology is here to stay, that much is certain, but the perception that some decisions are inconsistent, that the threshold for intervention shifts depending on the match or the teams involved, is a conversation that won't go away. Multiple decisions across the group stage have been questioned by analysts and former referees alike. FIFA will need to address that directly if they want public trust in the system to hold. What do you think? Was Bielsa the real problem, or was this a tournament that was never going to work regardless of the coach? And do you believe the refereeing and VAR decisions throughout this group were fair to Uruguay? Drop your thoughts in the comments. We read every single one. If you've made it this far and you still haven't subscribed, now's the moment. Hit that button, turn on notifications, and stay with us for every match, every controversy, and every story as the 2026 FIFA World Cup moves into the knockout rounds. This story is still developing, and as always, football never stays quiet for long. See you in the next one.